Let's bring in Utah GOP Senator Mike Lee, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your reaction to this big tech censorship 3 weeks before the election?
Yeah, it's certainly a stunning display of hypocrisy and of favoritism. Now, look, you've got Twitter and Facebook providing alternating explanations for what happened. First, they said this is misinformation, so we didn't want to run with it. Well, of course, they've been running with misinformation for years, but let's set that aside for a minute. And then, at least in the case of Twitter, they switched later in the day yesterday to saying, well, this wasn't illegally obtained. Well, that's not an explanation. That's certainly not a distinction. They've printed all sorts of things on Trump that was itself illegally obtained. So what we see going on here is a blatant display of favoritism and of hypocrisy among these tech companies. It's deeply disturbing.
So just so you know, part of these emails, one of the references is on Hunter Biden talking about this Chinese energy firm. It says saying 10% for H for the big guy. So here it is. One email sent to Biden on May 13, 2017 with the subject line, expectations. I go on, including details of, as we go ahead, remuneration packages for 6 people involved in an unspecified business venture. The email outlined a provisional agreement under which 80% of the equity or shares in the company would be split equally among those people whose initials corresponded to the sender, 3 recipients, with H apparently referring to Biden. So you wonder how far it goes up. It's not just Hunter Biden with a substance problem trying to cash in on his dad's name, which, as untasteful as it is, might be legal. It might be something else even more than that. And Senator Biden, Senator Lee, as you think about that, I also want to ask you, they said they reached out to your office with this information. Did you know that?
Yeah, that was news to me. I've learned that as of just the last few hours. I haven't been able to confirm that. We're coming through, as you might imagine, we receive tens of thousands of emails, and we haven't been able to verify that we heard from anybody on this, but we'll keep you posted on that.
But on the email, what do you think from what I just read to you?
It's stunning. Look, the fact that they did this, the fact that the New York Post put up this article yesterday, and then it was immediately taken down, and people who were posting it had their accounts blocked, is a rather brazen display and almost inexplicable act of loyalty toward one presidential campaign and against another. I really would like some answers on this.
Well, the New York Post says, Senator, that they got the emails and the photographs, which nobody's ever seen before, clearly personal photographs of Hunter Biden, from Rudy, who is the president's attorney, and apparently through some channel, Rudy's lawyer got it. And so some people are going, well, don't you think that's just a little suspicious?
Well, suspicious or not, these things either are real emails or they're not. These events either transpired or they didn't. Now, look, you've had news media outlets and you've had social media platforms in the past who have been willing to run all sorts of stuff just based on somebody's suggestion that they might be true. Now, I just want to see them applying the same standard here that they've applied elsewhere, and clearly we're not having the same standards. It'll be interesting to see whether they apply the same standard today to today's story with regard to China in the New York Post that they applied yesterday with regard to the other Hunter Biden story.
All right, let's talk about the hearings yesterday. We were all glued to the TV. She seemed so measured and just thoughtful and extremely bright, obviously. #1 in her class, Notre Dame. So let me show you, we put together a montage of some of the Democrats' bizarre questioning. Watch.
Roe a super precedent.
How would you define super precedent?
I thought someday I'd be sitting in that chair. I'm not. I'm up here, so I'm asking you.
You condemn white supremacy, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors?
No, Senator Hirono.
Do you believe that climate change is happening?
I will not express a view on a matter of public policy.
People are listening and watching. They may see what you say and be deterred from using contraceptives, or may feel the fear that it could be banned.
I would be surprised if people were afraid that birth control was about to be criminalized.
And then Senator Kennedy, just to demonstrate how bizarre some of these questions were, he eventually asked her, "Do you hate warm puppies?" And then she laughed and said no. What's your reaction to this?
Well, I'm experiencing PTSD as I listen to these clips, having experienced them once already. I thought they were strange. Look, here's one way to make sense of them, though. You can understand why these individuals would ask such bizarre questions if you understand the way they've come to view the Supreme Court of the United States. They view it as a policy-making body. They view it as a political entity. And when you understand it that way, it makes some sense out of why they're asking that. There's only one problem with that. The Constitution doesn't make it that. It doesn't make it a policy body. It doesn't make it a representative organ of the federal government. It is instead a dispute resolution mechanism within the federal government, there to just interpret the law where people disagree as to its meaning.
So, Senator, you have PTSD on those questions. I have on the Kavanaugh after his hearings were done. That's when the controversy started. What should our viewers know that could happen next that could turn this very smooth, polite process on its head? One thing I heard about is not giving you guys the quorum you need to have 2 Democrats show up in committee and 2 show up on a House on the floor vote. What else? Do you know this law as well as anyone?
Look, Brian, I'm not going to show our cards right now, but let me just say this. If they pull that trick, we've got 10 other tricks up our sleeve ready to go on that. They're not going to deter us. We're going to get Amy Coney Barrett confirmed. We're not going to let them pull a Kavanaugh or any other form of trick here that would deter us from getting her confirmed. This is happening.
Because you are the majority, and that's kind of how it works regarding these things. Senator Mike Lee, sir, thank you very much for joining us today. Good luck today.
Thank you.
All right.